Choosing an everyday carry bag is an important decision that, when done carefully, can feel like you've added a new extension to your body that almost feels irreplaceable. Welcome back to another Carryology video where we help you explore better ways to carry. My name is Dave Sam, Carryology Gear Reporter. With the rise in the hybrid work environment, we find ourselves going to the office a lot less, and when we are going to the office, we're carrying more with us. And with that, we thought it would be time to discuss some of the various carrying options that you're going to have when you are choosing your everyday carry, enabling you to get kind of the highest utility out of your day, depending on who you are and what type of environment you work in. To organize this a little bit, we're going to be dividing this up into 5 different categories. We've got our really official or standard kind of business work. We've got our casual work environments. We've got our niche work environments. Then we're going to take a special look into things like commuter priority as well as travel priority. Without further ado, let's jump right in. All right, first off, let's start with those really business-oriented work environments. If you're my age, think about those places that you were brought up to think of as the standard work environment. Lots of wood everywhere, everybody's got their own office chair, maybe their own office, nice desk. People show up in suits, shiny shoes, shiny hair, nice watches to the nines, that type of thing. That type of work environment is going to warrant a different type of bag and a different type of thought process as you're choosing that everyday carry, because you want to walk in ready to impress. You want to walk in making sure that your bag isn't the downfall of your suit and shiny hair and shiny shoes, right? If you're wearing that, you don't want to pair it with, let's say, a 10-year-old North Face backpack that you take camping on a regular basis. Nothing against that backpack, but not appropriate for the environment that you're in. The person that goes to work in this environment is likely carrying a combination of things like, of course, their tech, just like anybody else basically going to work these days, signatory forms, pens, papers, things that they're going to need to interact with maybe a client for. So again, they have a outward looking job as well. They're going to be representing the brand that they work for. So they've really got to show up dressed to the nines. Your primary focus when you are dressing up a bag to fit your business attire is going to be the materials that you choose. And you're going to want to go with something that's leather or even waxed canvas, as those two types of materials really give off that really classy vibe. Additionally, as we talked about before, you're going to want to consider the clashing styles potentially. So if you're dressing up your suit, you may not want to wear a backpack whatsoever. And you want to go with maybe a briefcase or a messenger, again, with that same eye towards materials and style that matches what it is you're wearing. All that being said, of course, work environments are changing so much today. So if you do have a work environment that's business forward, but a little bit progressive, you may be able to get away with a nicer backpack like a Tumi or something that you can put on and wear every day and not really have to worry too much about whether or not it's clashing. Just make sure you consider those things that we talked about, like who you're going to be talking to, the materials that you're going to want to be putting forward, and then what your style or your general appearance is going to be looking like as you are projecting, yourself forward. It's also worth mentioning that oftentimes when you're wearing like a suit jacket or something that you've had at least ironed or pressed, you may not just want to wear a backpack with that. It's going to start to wrinkle or crinkle those areas, and that's going to end up ruining the appearance overall when you do put your bag down and you're just having that casual conversation with somebody and you got a line of wrinkles going across. All right, I've got a couple of recommendations for this type of work environment. So first off, from Troubadour Goods or Troubadour, we've got the Ridge Pack backpack. This is a backpack option. Very nice, got some leather accents, still has a lot of the same like waterproofing and nylon that you would see in other bags. This is one that I wore to work, traveled with for probably 2 or 3 weeks. And honestly, almost every day that somebody saw me with this, I got questions about where it was from, what it was made out of, so on and so forth. This is that type of statement piece. This has tons of room, 25 liters. It's great to pair with like a secondary bag when you're traveling. And again, you need to show up to that business work environment. Secondary option, and this is going to be a bit more of a formal option for this style, and you've probably seen this before, is your basically standard messenger or side carry sidearm bag. This one is leather leather is from Bleu de Chauffe, a Paris company. Also another great kind of bag to pair with a secondary bag if you're traveling, or again, if you're just showing up to court, to the hospital, to wherever it is that you're going. This could just look great as you're carrying it in or out, and then looks great, feels fantastic. This leather is beautiful. The next environment we're going to be talking about is the casual work environment, and this is going to be probably the most progressive of the bunch. This is what you think of when you see the big tech companies of the world, nice bright colors, big open spaces. This is going to be the one where you get to have the most fun, in all honesty. This is probably where I'd classify myself in a work environment. This is pretty much what I would wear to work on a regular basis or on any given day where it was warm enough to wear something like this. And this overall relaxation of the work environment has been fantastic news for people like me who just love bags and also love style, right? I want to go in with something that looks a little bit funky every once in a while, just so people ask me questions about that bag and I can talk about bags a little bit more. I'm sure some of you who are watching are probably in the same category. In the casual work environment, you have the most freedom to prioritize what matters to you. So for me, I always look for three things: comfort, capacity, and style. But your list may be very different depending on what it is that you do for work on a regular basis. So whether you need that hybrid travel bag to, really maximize your way of traveling, or you want to have a tote with all the right pocketing and lots of nice open space, or maybe you just want to bring a small sling that has just the essentials for your day. Again, this is where you can do really whatever you want. I think you get the gist at this point. This is where your priorities come to life. So like I mentioned, for me, I'm usually gonna go with a nice clean black backpack. Oftentimes it's gonna have one of these Carryology patches on them nowadays. Belroy Camaro and the CPL 24 from Evergoods, also the Carryology edition. And like I mentioned, I'm gonna be looking for three things primarily: comfort, capacity, and style. We can go through a little bit on both of these bags. We'll start with this one. This is the Belroy Camaro, or the Venture backpack from Belroy. It has an upgraded harness system, updated sternum strap, which is really nice, magnetic closure. They've also added in this ripstop bonded leather material. Gives it a really nice refined look. And finally, it has updated zipper pulls. So these zipper pulls have our orange accent, our signature orange accent. But when I think about this, it's got nice comfortable air channel in the back, really comfortable straps, and then it has a sternum strap. And I love having a sternum strap because I like to carry a lot of tech or denser things, and I want to get that backpack strap out from underneath my armpit. So always helps to have a sternum strap. Second, we talk about capacity. This is a 22-liter backpack, right in the perfect range for me. I usually shoot for that 18 to 24-liter range. Smaller than 18 gets really tight, to be honest, though it can manage. Bigger than 24, honestly, just a lot of excessive space that I don't need. Also has the potential to impact your comfort, given that it's just gonna be a bigger bag. And then lastly, and we can talk about style on both of these, looking for specific materials that are neutral in color. So these black ones are great. You might prefer gray or white or brown or something like that. Definitely neutral colors that you can pair with other neutral colors and other bright colors potentially. And then something that has maybe this higher tenacity material, so can really go with me as I'm walking about, going through my day. I personally one wheel to work, so if I were to fall off, something that could handle hitting the ground pretty hard, and still keep my stuff not only safe, but keep the bag looking pristine. All right, third category is going to be our niche work environments. And this is going to be the hardest category to define generally because niche is so specific to the actual niche that you work in. For me, I usually carry a lot of camera gear with me because I am testing bags on the road, or I'm trying to get B-roll, or I just want to have my camera with me to get better pictures and video than I can get on my phone. I prioritize bringing photography, videography equipment with me. So I'm gonna go through this category as if we're talking about a videographer or photographer. Now, these niche roles or these niche work environments are gonna be hallmarked by a ton of diversity in their environment, actually. These are often folks who are on the road a lot. They're showing up to new places with all of the things that they need to work in that area. So for me, again, photographer, videographer, I might be doing a street shoot where I'm walking through and trying to get information on a super loud road. I need to have the right sound equipment with me and so on and so forth, as well as my videography equipment. Or I'm backpacking like we did with the Fjallraven shoot, and I could only bring such a light amount of camera gear with me. Those types of environments are going to be super dynamic, and I may not know what I'm gonna have as far as charging or a place to put my stuff or any of those things. So it's all gotta fit in one bag, and it's gotta be really, really diverse in its ability as we're going through the day, because it needs to be able to handle basically any environment I throw at it. For those dynamic work environments, for me, I'm trying to prioritize two things in particular. One is gonna be speed, so how can I access my stuff and how easy is it for me to access my stuff? And then second is capacity and comfort. Because I have to bring so much with me, this is often going to be a bigger bag. So the more you bring with you, the denser your stuff is, the heavier it's going to be, obviously. Now for especially a smaller shoot, I can prioritize speed a lot more quickly. Maybe I only need one lens and just a bunch of sound equipment. Maybe I just need one extra lens. I can probably use something like a bigger sling. This is the one from Wandered. It's their 6-liter version of this sling here, and then it has this nice laptop / tablet kind of carrying case that's all waterproof and everything, so you can get your camera and, you know, your essential tech in here. If I've got kind of that shorter shoot, or maybe I'm going to be taking my, you know, one wheel out or something and I only want to have a little bit with me, a sling can be a great option. Additionally, from Wandered, a nice kind of rear open backpack so you can just see and access all your stuff. So if you had the opportunity to put something down, this may be really easy as far as speed goes. And this is great because you want to, again, when you're prioritizing speed, you want to be able to just have access to all your stuff at a moment's notice and be able to make those changes really, really quickly, because you might have to do something dynamic or do something quickly. You might also just be waiting for a shot for 10, 20, 30 minutes, however long that you're sitting there waiting, and you don't want to miss it because you were too slow making a change. And then second, for comfort and capacity, again, having them in the same range here, I've got two bigger bags. So we got the smaller things kind of covered there in that 6 to, let's say, 15-liter range. Now we're looking at kind of that 20-liter plus range. Both of these bags are, this one's, I believe, 25 to 30, and this one actually is like 22 to like 45. This is the Prima system from Boundary Supply. Great little hybrid backpack that has a ton of capacity, also expands, and then has a nice little camera carry access on the side. It also comes with a little sling that you can add, remove, or insert and remove from this little area here. On the other side, we've got the Tropic Feel Hive backpack. What I love about this is also extremely modular. So it has the ability, or there is an additional camera case that fits all the way on the inside, or takes up most of the capacity on the inside. When you open this up, again, you can see everything that's going on the inside. But then it also has things like this kangaroo pouch and these little nipple clips on the outside. So if you do want to also bring clothing with you, they have a nice little 12-liter packing cube that fits perfectly in here. I've traveled with this bag. I brought my camera with this bag. It has been a ton of fun to use overall. And the reason I bring both of these up is because of that capacity to weight ratio, right? The Prima system is an awesome bag, super secure, overbuilt, amazing for somebody like me who loves endless features, right? But ultimately, it is a 5-pound backpack without anything inside of it. So once you stuff it, it can be on the heavy side. When you're looking at the Hive, for example, we're looking at about 3.5 pounds. So that extra 1.5 pounds of weight, again, over like a 6, 7, 8-hour day, when you're carrying everything with you and you're carrying a lot of dense stuff, can start to make a lot of a difference. All right, moving into the next category, we have our Commuter Priority category. And this is a category that takes the actual action of getting to and from work and really tries to maximize what you can do with that action. And this can be from once back and forth every day to multiple trips throughout the day if you're like a courier of some kind or a delivery person or something. I'm gonna take this one step further and refine the category a little bit more and exclude our drivers from this category. Though I know your commuters, just a little bit different of a take. We're gonna be looking at our folks who are EVing, biking, or taking public transportation. People who fall in this category are gonna generally be traveling or need to be traveling hands-free. So that's gonna be putting us in the backpack, kind of standard messenger bag, or sling territory almost exclusively. And just to be clear, there is going to be a lot of overlap in this category with other categories. The idea here is to be comprehensive overall, so you are going to be seeing some overlap. So all of those considerations still hold true when you're considering your commuter priority, but we also have two additional considerations that I do want to jump into. So the first one is actually capacity to weight ratio. I just want to double down on this one because again, if you're going to be EVing or biking in particular, this is going to be weight on your back that you need to be supporting throughout that kind of extraneous work as well. So if you are going to be carrying a lot of heavier stuff, this can be a problem depending on who you are. Your material choice is also going to be really important here because those materials are going to be adding or taking away weight. For example, if you go with something that's a sailcloth, it's going to be much, much lighter than something that's a thick or heavy Cordura. The next thing we want to talk about is being well fastened. Again, if you are biking, EVing, or even honestly on the bus or something, the last thing you want is your bag jostling around as you're moving or interacting with the road around you, the people around you, because you're on the bus or the train or something. So you might want to prioritize having something that has nice strapping. And by that I mean you can really tie down or cinch down the shoulder strap so the bag sits nice and high and tight. You can add in the sternum strap. So again, you're pulling the bag more tightly to your body and eliminating any of that discomfort from under your armpit. You also want to make sure that the materials you choose are capable of handling all of the elements as you're outside. So having materials that are weather resistant can be super important. And lastly, and again, this is going to really depend on how much you're carrying, but you might want to also prioritize a bag that has some sort of waist strap. So when I think of that trifecta, the Prima system does come to mind. It does have all three of those items. Really, really nice and comfortable. I actually used it for like almost 2 years as my standard everyday carry work backpack, and it was great. All right, even if commuting is your priority, you might want to go with something a little bit smaller. So for example, if you're the once a day kind of traveler, you can probably get away with something that's tote style, but also has backpack straps. So when you get to the office, you can still use it like a tote as you like. But when you're commuting, you can transform your bag, if you will, and put it on your back and not have to worry too much about it. On the other side of that, if you are a courier of some kind, potentially you're gonna be on your bike all day, you might wanna use something like this Chrome messenger bag here. And this is, again, that standard messenger. It sits really high up on the back, and then it has this security strap on the front as well. So it really keeps everything nice and secure to your back. So especially for those bikers, if you've got something where you've got a bag like this, you can easily, without even getting off your bike, swing it to the front, open it up, deliver what you need to deliver, and just get on the way. And our last category is our traveler priority. And this is slightly different than our commuter priority because this is not about going to work locally. This is going to be about getting on buses, trains, or planes to go to a different city and work, potentially spend the night there. So you're gonna need either 2 bags, or if you're like the Carryology folks, you're embracing one bag travel, probably the fastest growing kind of niche in our community, then you might want to have something that has more dynamic range to it. So one bag travel is that specialty size category that allows you to take some of the features of a roller bag, but transition them into the form factor of a backpack or often a duffel bag. Now, depending on where you're going and what type of activities you're going to be engaging in, you want to pick this bag a bit strategically, and there's going to be a couple of considerations overall. The first one is, am I going to a formal location? Something like a nice duffel potentially, or weekender bag, often referred to, that can fit, 2 or 3 days worth of clothing, but also has plenty of space for things like tech. Might be awesome for you to take with you. So if you want, you can bring a bag like this. This is the Hobo travel bag, also from Blue to Shelf. What I like about this one is there is this very minimal modularity. So this is a nice little laptop sleeve that you can attach to the inside of the bag. So if I'm showing up going to a meeting or something like that, I can easily put this bag down and pull my laptop and other items out in the sleeve. On the other hand, if you don't necessarily need something super nice, but you do want to be able to bring a dynamic amount of stuff with you, so maybe I need to bring my camera, maybe I need to bring a bunch of tech and clothing, whatever those items actually are, you might want to go with something like this. This is from Peak Design. This is they call it the 30-liter travel bag, but it's a 27 to 33-liter kind of collapsible or expandable backpack. I have loved traveling with this. It's just such a good and dynamic bag. I've obviously run into capacity issues occasionally if you're going on like a 5-day trip, and me personally, I'm a bit of a bougie traveler, so I need a little more capacity than this as the days go on. If you're somebody like Taylor Weldon on the other side, he could probably travel for like several years with just this bag. All right, we just went through a ton of options and considerations for your everyday carry bag. You saw a few different examples and what those bags can bring to the table. There are literally thousands of bags out there that meet these various criteria, meet these needs that I didn't get to show you. Finding the one that works for you, again, like I said at the beginning, is a super important decision, and when done carefully, when done correctly, can really, really feel like you've added an appendage to your body that is irreplaceable. Thanks for watching another video by Carryology. Let us know what you think of these carrying styles, different considerations, if we missed any considerations, or any of the bags that you saw here, or if you've got some ideas for folks for additional bags that might be good for any of those categories. Let us know in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, get notified to new Carryology content so you can stay in touch with all the content that we're producing. I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.